Full masterclass with bonus modules is free on WAP. First link in the description below. And now, along with your physical health, one of the most important aspects of your overall health is your mental health. And this is part 2 of Act 3 of the official Matrix Masterclass. So to begin, we can talk about mental disorders. Now, most of the time when someone is struggling with mental health, they're really just being possessed by demonic entities. This is hard to believe by the general public because demonic possession is seen as a strictly fictional occurrence, originating from the Conjuring or Annabelle movies, but this is far from the truth. Films are over-exaggerated for entertainment purposes, as most possessions are merely a malevolent spirit manipulating someone to physically or emotionally harm someone else. This is done because the spirits feed off of strong negative energy such as fear, anger, hate, sadness, etc. It is extremely rare that an entity will cause somebody to begin floating and speak in a completely different language, but it has happened in a few rare instances. Watch your diet plus. Your diet is more than just what you eat on a regular basis. In fact, your diet is every single thing that your body and mind consumes. From the obvious, your food intake, to the unknown, music, every single thing is part of your diet. Of course, if you eat like shit, you'll feel like shit. But if you eat healthy and listen to depressing music, for example, you will more likely still feel depressed. I call this your diet plus. Every single thing you consume on a day-to-day basis, the food you eat, the music you listen to, the movies and shows you watch, the video games you play, the job you work out, the school you study at, the religion you follow, the people you interact with, etc. Make sure everything going into yourself is beneficial. Don't be a fool who chases temporary pleasure. Embrace creativity. In addition to your physical health and capabilities, it is extremely important to fight the matrix by also honing in on your mental strengths. One of the best ways is to embrace your creativity. But I'm not a creative person, I can't. God blessed you with a brain, so use it. There are plenty of ways to go about this. Coloring, drawing, writing, journaling, completing puzzles, recording videos, shooting short films, and the list goes on. Best practice is to keep your brain active and running all day, every day. If you genuinely cannot think of anything to do that will keep your brain creatively occupied, then ask ChatGPT. Problem solved. Aside from your physical health, your mental health and perception of reality is another one of the most important things that you have. The one thing you want to avoid here is overstimulating your brain or allowing yourself to zone out. So it is important to keep this in check by using your brain constantly every day. Do not complete a checklist with movies, videos, or music playing in the background. It is extremely distracting, overstimulating, and numbs your brain. It doesn't allow you time to process things and actually think. God gave you a brain, so use it. I'm going to keep reiterating that point until it's drilled into your brain that God gave you for you to use. Use it to become the best version of yourself possible. Expand your knowledge by reading books or learning new skills, especially ones that can be monetized. Examples of this are Examples of this are copywriting, video editing, content creation, sales, and marketing, etc. Now, I've noticed self-improvement slowly become more of a controversial topic over the years, being it that people take things to the extreme. However, how can you truly have toxic self-improvement? The proof is in the pudding. Self-improvement means exactly what it says. There should be no limit to how far you go with this. Continue to set greater steps for yourself and reach new heights. Reach your maximum potential by continuing to grow even after you've surpassed all of your peers in your previous steps. Don't think about the things you want as dreams, but rather as milestones or steps. Perceiving a better body as a dream, for example, tells yourself that it'll never really happen. Never stop when you think it's good enough. This will cause you to become complacent. Another tip I have is a lot of people will set goals or things that they want to long achieve later in their life, and even when they do get there, then they just as I was saying, they become complacent, and then they go, okay, I've come far enough, I'll just stop trying now. Don't see the world that way. Don't see the world as, once I make it here, once I make my first million, I'll be happy, because then once you make a million, you stop trying, and then you lose all your money, and it's like, No, you gotta keep going. Why would you ever stop? And now, which brings me on to the next point, discipline, which is doing shit regardless of how you feel because you know it needs to get done. This applies to everybody, men especially. No matter who you are, being undisciplined will cause you to become lazy, selfish, ignorant, and entitled. We've all seen or heard a spoiled brat before. That's what happens when you live a life without ever having to struggle for anything in life. Life is built on struggle and perseverance. Without it, there is no real meaning to your destiny or goals. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's easy because it's not. Again, this is what discipline is all about. This is why very few people are disciplined at all nowadays because it's too hard. Everybody's caught up with their TikTok and DoorDash brain that they can't even comprehend the word struggle. And so many fall under the belief that fear is a negative charge of human energy. While that can be true, I prefer to see it as a challenge. Everybody does things every day that conquers minor and insignificant fears that has no real impact on their psyche. However, never attempting to overcome your fears can cause you to mentally wrap yourself in a shell and never want to step out. This is where discipline is applied. You must understand that life is not worth living without fear. It doesn't have to be a blood-curdling near-death experience. I'm talking about asking that girl out, applying for that job even if you get rejected, or reaching out to your first potential client. Fear causes you to miss out on so many extraordinary experiences. And if you can never leave your comfort zone, then why live your life? Again, I'm not telling you to go jump out of a fucking airplane and go skydiving or bungee jumping. I'm simply just saying do simple little things. Like if you're introverted and social interaction makes you awkward because of, you stayed indoors for COVID for so long and you haven't talked to someone and now it's just awkward for you and you get what you think is social anxiety, but really you're just a fucking pussy. But seriously though, that's fine. I used to have that issue and sometimes I still do, but I try to ignore it, swipe it under the rug, and I take the extra few moments that I have, like if I'm at a cashier or a register at a store or a gas station or a waitress or a waiter at a restaurant, I will, continue the conversation with them as they say things, make little funny, quirky, quick-witted jokes just to, keep it lighthearted and funny. And you don't want it to be too awkward and quiet. Like, it's just weird. Like, why would you live life that way? I just don't understand. If you want the full Matrix Masterclass with locked modules, bonus sections, downloads, and the path to break out of the system, you can access it for completely free on WAP. First link is in the description below.